He's the pizza chef who loves to toss pies and give his enemies a smackdown. It's Peppino from the hit indie game Pizza Tower. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Peppino, he made his first appearance in the game Pizza Tower, which originally released on PC in 2023 and was developed by an indie studio known as Tour de Pizza. In this game, you play as a chef known as Peppino Spaghetti, yes, that's his real name, who must save its declining pizzeria from being destroyed by a sentient pizza known as Pizza Face. No, not that Pizza Face. This Pizza Face tells Peppino that, in order to save his subpar restaurant from becoming as flat as his pies, he must ascend the Pizza Tower and face off against a few weird pizza mascots and Pizza Face himself. Little does he know that Peppino isn't your average pizza chef, because for today, he'll be serving some hot punches as he fights against Wario, Mario, and all the other potential rivals on the Super Smash Bros. Roster. So starting off, Peppino here would be a slightly above average midweight fighter, being slightly heavier than Mario himself. He'd have 2 jumps and would be able to both wall jump and crawl. But now, let's dive into his costumes. For Peppino's default appearance, he'll be in his iconic white attire. For the rest of the alts, this will have him in different costumes that he gets throughout the course of the Pizza Tower game, which have him in dark blue with bones, red, orange with a hint of green, purple with a brick-based pattern, pink, and a yellow shirt with red spots. A nod to, of course, pepperoni pizza. Now with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into the moveset. Not gonna lie, Peppino here is going to have a very chaotic and weird moveset. That's mainly because Peppino, and Pizza Tower as a whole, is a very chaotic and weird game. Despite that though, his moveset will also be unique because a lot of his attacks are going to be emphasizing the weird and kinda creepy animations Pizza Tower is well known for. Also, I should bring this up because I know a lot of people are going to be asking, but Peppino here will have a similarly themed moveset to Wario, hilariously enough. But just so we're clear, I base this moveset off of what Peppino does in Pizza Tower, which in and of itself is inspired by the Wario Land series. So there was bound to be a lot of similarities towards the greedy garlic eater himself. So starting off with the jab, it'll be a 2-hit jab where Peppino punches twice. That last hit will deal the most amount of damage and launch power, but it also has a tiny bit of end lag. For the dash attack, Peppino performs a shoulder tackle. While it looks like his second jab, it's a lot stronger by comparison. But because of this, it also has slightly more end lag. For the side tilt, Peppino slaps his hand forwards. This attack doesn't deal much damage, but it does come out pretty quick and can be used for combo setups. For the down tilt, Peppino performs a slide on the ground. This down tilt is pretty unique because this slide will only stop if it hits an opponent, a wall, or a ledge. However, despite this, the attacking portion of the move only happens at the beginning of the move. This means that Peppino can easily take damage while he slides, so keep that in mind. For the up tilt, Peppino performs an uppercut. It's a pretty simple attack, but it can be used for combo setups. Now for the forward smash, Peppino will comedically grow his fist and punch forwards. If it wasn't apparent, this smash attack is incredibly strong and can launch opponents pretty far. But because of this, it has quite a bit of start lag and a tiny bit of end lag. For the down smash, Peppino summons a boombox and spins on the ground multiple times. Despite spinning, he only launches foes on impact. For the up smash, Peppino grows his mouth and chomps directly above himself. Aside from this up smash looking extremely cursed, this is yet another smash attack that deals a large amount of damage and knockback. But if it wasn't apparent, this attack will have a lot of start lag and a lot of end lag. For the neutral air, Peppino spins multiple times, dealing multiple hits of damage until the final hit. For the forward air, Peppino puts his hands together and swings them forwards. This attack is surprisingly strong and can launch foes pretty far, but there is a tad bit of start lag. For the back air, Peppino performs a simple kick behind himself. This kick does come out pretty quick, but doesn't deal much damage. For the down air, Peppino performs his iconic body slam. Just like how it works in the original game, Peppino will perform a belly flop directly downwards, which causes him to fall at high speeds and deal a large amount of damage. However, despite it being strong, its biggest flaw is that Peppino will suffer a tad bit of end lag once he crashes onto the stage. And finally, for the up air, Peppino will perform a headbutt upwards, which deals a surprisingly large amount of damage and knockback. but where Peppino rises like dough is with his special attacks. For Peppino's neutral special, he wields a gun! No, this isn't a joke. I'm being dead serious with you guys. Peppino's neutral special has him shoot out a cartoon bullet forwards as a medium-sized projectile. These bullets move surprisingly fast and can travel a pretty far distance. It can also be spammed for as long as you want, so kinda like Fox and Falco's laser guns. But unlike either of their guns, Peppino's special changes depending on if you tap the special button or hold it down. Tapping the special button will have Peppino shoot out these medium-sized bullets, but holding the special button down has Peppino shoot out a larger and slower bullet. This single bullet is surprisingly large, meaning that it has a larger hitbox. Not only that, but unlike the previous bullets, this bullet will be able to launch players. The downside with both variations of the bullet is that they both count as projectiles, so be wary of using this move against foes with reflectors. Now for Peppino's side special, Peppino will dash forwards at high speeds. This side special is unique because it changes depending on how long you hold down the special button for. Simply holding the special button for 1 second will have Peppino start to build up momentum. Since he's building up momentum, he can't damage players and can easily be cancelled out of this run if he gets grabbed or tagged. However, if you hold down the special button for roughly 2.5 seconds, then Peppino will start running at his max speed. While he's at his max speed, he'll be able to temporarily run up walls and be completely invincible to any and all damage. Nothing can launch him and nothing can damage him. Not only that, but if he happens to run into an opponent, they'll take damage and immediately be sent high into the air. Aside from damaging players, this side special is great for ground control and getting back to the stage in a pinch, as Peppino will be able to quickly dash left or right during this dash. But of course, just like with a lot of special attacks in Smash, this move does have a weak point. If an opponent happened to have been shielding when Peppino used the side special, then the opponent won't get launched and can easily attack Peppino from behind. Not only that, players can also grab him to get him to stop running. Despite these weak spots, this overall move can help Peppino in more ways than one, so keep that in mind. Now for Peppino's down special, Peppino will perform one of his most scariest and deadliest moves within the entirety of Pizza Tower. Taunting. Yep, that's the attack. Except whenever he perfectly taunts an opponent's attack, he'll immediately break out of his taunt and counterattack. Not only that, but if he happens to taunt when a projectile hit him, then he'll reflect that projectile back into the direction it came from. Despite this move sounding pretty reliable to use, it does have one major flaw. Unlike most counterattacks, which have a lingering guard after pressing the special button, this counterattack only works as soon as you press the special button. It doesn't linger for a second. Basically, if a player happened to have attacked you after you initially start the taunt, then you won't be able to counterattack. The only way to counterattack or reflect is by timing it close to the impact, so be mindful of that. And finally, for Peppino's up special, Peppino will perform an uppercut and rise into the air. This uppercut is pretty straightforward. All it does is allow Peppino to get a bit more height while punching upwards, and causes him to go into free fall once he reaches his max height. If the opponent happened to have been in Peppino's trajectory, then they'll get hit by his fist and be sent flying. I'm well aware that this move sounds super lame, but that's just if you tap the special button. If you instead hold the special button, then Peppino will crouch low to the ground and prepare himself for a super jump. Once the special button is let go, Peppino will jump super high into the air and then immediately go into free fall once he reaches the max distance of the height. Unlike his supercut, his super jump will cause his entire body to become a moving hitbox to the end of the move, meaning that players will always get launched if they happen to have been in his trajectory. Not only that, but if you use your side special anytime before he goes into free fall, he cancels the super jump and immediately goes into his side special. However, while he uses his side special in this state, he won't just move forwards at high speeds. Instead, he'll make one of his arms muscular and perform an aerial shoulder tackle, which deals way more damage and knockback than his side special on the ground. Despite this super jump sounding pretty reliable to use, it does unfortunately have a weak point. If at any time Peppino gets hit while he's in the air, he'll cancel out of his super jump and be unable to use his super jump again until he lands back on the stage. He can still freely use all of his other attacks and even his uppercut, but none of these attacks will send him as high as a super jump, so keep that in mind. And now, for the final smash. Peppino's final smash will be... Ultimate Smackdown. This will be a cinematic Final Smash where Peppino will scream to the top of his lungs and rush forwards. If one opponent gets hit by Peppino's rush, then they'll be pulled into a cinematic. The cinematic starts with Peppino going insane and rapidly punching, kicking, and even biting the opponent. But while he attacks them, him and the opponent will continuously rise into the air. Then, after a few seconds of this madness, Peppino will hold onto them and proceed to pile drive them into the pizza tower itself. Once Peppino crashes back onto the pizza tower with the opponent, the pizza tower will split in half and crumble to pieces, ending the final smash. This final smash is an amplified version of Peppino's iconic final blow that he gave to Pizza Face at the end of Pizza Tower. The stage of choice is the Pizza Tower. This stage's layout is reminiscent of the New Pork City stage in Smash, where it's a large stage with many different platforms. But unlike New Pork City, this stage's overall layout, hazards, and aesthetics change each time you play on the stage. In total, the stage will have 5 different designs pulled straight from one of the various floors from the original Pizza Tower game. Not only that, but the hazards will range from rotating pizza cutters, lava pits, electrical outlets, speed ramps, and even certain basic enemies that correspond with the stage's aesthetic. In the background, you can see some of the wacky visuals from each of the different floors, and even one of the floor bosses booing the players. Considering how wacky and fast-paced Pizza Tower is, the music is equally fast-paced and wacky, so I'll be going with some of the most iconic songs from that game. In total, 11 songs will be included, 5 of which will be remixed. And that would be if Peppino joined Super Smash Bros. If I'm being honest, I didn't think that I was going to actually enjoy Pizza Tower when I first heard about it. But when I decided to give the game a try, I was surprised by how fun it is. Is it pure chaos? No doubt. But that's also what gives the game flavor. I strongly believe that if we get another Super Smash Bros. Game, Pizza Tower will be represented in some way. Anyways, do you have a character you'd like to see be given a Smash moveset? If so, let me know in the comments down below. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe? That way you can get notified when I put out any Super Smash Bros. Moveset videos. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.